Hello and welcome to another edition of the Movie Kit podcast. I'm your host Kit Bowen. We're going to talk about a few things this podcast. We're going to do a little catch up and talk about Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. So we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, but we're still all in it. I am anyway. I just love the movie. Also, we're going to talk about two TV shows that ended their seasons and series actually. Disney Plus's Andor, Star Wars Andor, and also HBO Max's The Last of Us. But joining me in this great conversation is mine and ours good friend Joel Amos. Joel, how are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. All right, let's just start it off, man. Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, the eighth in the series of Mission Impossible movies, perhaps one of the most enduring and also best action franchises of all time, in my opinion. Um, this final one sort of gives a bit of a wrap up, but we're not. I think it'll continue on, but we'll see. We'll talk about that after our little discussion. Once again, directed by Christian McQuarrie, who is basically he and Tom Cruise are like this, and I'm holding my fingers together. They are just one and the same. They have the same wavelength. I think Christian McQuarrie has directed the last four of these. So, and this is the continuation of Dead Reckoning, which was a part one. And in this Final Reckoning, we're still dealing with the AI entity as well as bad guy Gabriel, played by Esai Morales. Also returning is Hayley Atwell as Master Pickpocket Grace, Simon Pegg as Benji, Vin Rhames as Luther, and Palm Clementif as Paris from Dead Reckoning, Henry Shershi from playing Kittredge. Also, we have some great cameos too. We can talk about those. Hannon Waddingham, Nick Offerman, Tremel Tillman from Severance as well. He makes a great little cameo, and Angela Bassett's back. Shea Wiggum's back. I mean, it's just, fantastic cast. So, after all that, what did you think of Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, Joel?
Exquisite, outstanding, extraordinary. I don't think vocabulary does it justice.
Right?
Because as a standalone, it's incredible. The action sequences are, I don't want to say par for the course because he always raises the par, or lowers the par, I guess we're making a golf analogy. Um, and you just think, okay, what can he do next? And then I love the fact that the plane sequence that's featured heavily in the trailer is they just put it right on the poster. They're like not trying to hide anything. They're like,
No, no, this is it.
look what we did. Look, there's Tom on the wing of an airplane. You want to see this movie? Yes, I do. I do want to see this movie. Um, so yeah, it's just incredible. And the other thing I think it does brilliantly is it never forgets that this is a series. And what's been beautiful is each movie, really can be watched on its own. You don't, you learn enough watching each thing that you don't have to watch any of the others, but you benefit so much by watching them all together, of course. But what this movie does is with many different directors, of course, the same on the last four, but many different directors, different stories, different locales. Um, they managed to tie it together
Yeah.
in a way that I think they're going to be studying for a very long time, right alongside the first chapter of the MCU. I think that
Yes.
a masterclass in long-term storytelling. And if Tom had this idea from the beginning, then he's one of the most brilliant people to operate in Hollywood ever. If it was organic, well, then they're just very talented. Um, I just, I got to see it again. And I see a lot
I
of our
know, me
colleagues,
too.
they're like, back for number four. I'm like, wow, okay. If critics are going back for a fourth time, then you haven't just hit a grand slam. You won the World Series.
Yeah, it's true. Critics for sure. I mean, I know some people have complained it's a little long, longer than most of the other ones. It's almost nearly 3 hours, but I maybe felt it just a twinge here and there, but for the most part, I didn't feel it at all. I mean, that's also a testament to what this series has accomplished. And like you said, I do recommend if you are a big Mission Impossible fan, um, and have the access to, I would try to watch all of the. If you can't watch them all before you go see Final Reckoning, or if you haven't seen it already, go back and watch all of them again. I did that. I did that before I watched this, and it was great
Oops.
because you're
You
right.
are you're rewarded. You
I
are
am.
rewarded.
Yes.
No
I
question.
mean, just there's we're not because my our podcast generally doesn't tend to spoil too much, so we're not going to really spoil. But there's some things that happen from the very first movie that show
Hmm.
up in this one, and even from I kind of the second one they showed some clips, but of course the second one's always kind of the definitely it's the black sheep of the
Yeah.
franchise.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was directed by John Woo, but it was all very well done,
Stylistic.
but it really didn't have much to do with what the rest of the story is. Although I do have to say that Tandy Newton, gorgeous young Tandy Newton, and Tom Cruise actually had a lot of chemistry. I thought a lot of
Hmm.
chemistry in that. So yeah, so that one sort of brushed aside a little bit. But from three on, from Michelle Monaghan to being in love with Julia to all of the rest of them, it really just there's a kind of a seamless. There's a story. There's a through line that I just didn't think that was true. Like I thought each movie sort of had a bad guy in a bad situation and trying to save the world, blah blah blah. But how it all kind of accumulated to this is just it was pretty well done. Yeah, you're right. If he meant to do it, kudos to Tom Cruise, man. He is something else. If he didn't mean to do it and it kind of just worked out that way, again, you're like you said, it's it's brilliant. So yeah, I love this. Not only was there the plane
Hmm.
sequence, but there's a if you guys watch Dead Reckoning, you know that the main source code to the entity is on this sunken Russian submarine. So, at some point in time, I knew that he had to get down there, right? He's got to get down there somehow.
Hmm.
And certainly from the trailer, you see clips of him under the ice and all that kind of stuff. That sequence, though, actually had me even more on the edge of my seat than the plane stuff. All the plane stuff was great. Biplanes, by the way, not just a plane, a biplane. Um, that scene when he's in the torpedo room and it's like he's trying to get out, and I was like, I can't even. How is he gonna? What's happening here? I was just like, ah. And
There, yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, and just if you want to, you can do a deep dive on this, and there's some behind the scenes stuff. And if you hear how Christopher McQuarrie filmed that, how he and Tom filmed that, because they really are a team,
Yeah,
um, is by far the most dangerous thing they've ever done.
wow. Because I
Like,
thought that one scene, that one underwater stuff on Rogue Nation, and he has
mm,
to
mm,
go on that turbine, whatever the heck it was. I thought that was
mm.
unbelievable. So
And
still,
the director
still.
said there were moments where he really thought Tom was going to run out of air.
Well, Tom is just he's a beast. And look, we've talked about this many times before, but I did see recently an article that said he's kind of the last true movie star. Um, I mean, he's never done any television at all. And that not to say that that's any detriment anymore. I mean, clearly television is just as great as movies, but um he's only been cinematic in his
Hmm.
endeavor. So, and he truly wants to give people an exciting experience, and him tapping into this Mission Impossible franchise was just the key. I mean, because Top Gun was great and everything, but it doesn't have that lasting power like Mission Impossible. I mean, from the series in the '60s too. You could have standalone situations where the IMF have to, come in to solve the problem. It's funny. I recently watched an old Mission Impossible episode. Actually it was one of the later ones. So Martin Landau had already left, and it was Leonard Nimoy and Peter Graves and Leslie Ann Warren, a very young Leslie Ann
Mm.
Warren. Yes, but
Hmm.
and Greg Morris, of course. But this just makes me laugh because I mean it's a good show. I mean, clearly they were of its time was a pretty, action packed type of show. But their big mission was that they had to take down this drug kingpin. That was the big mission. Oh, he's
Right.
selling drugs out on the street and people are dying and we gotta just thinking to myself, wow. Yes, yes,
Is
that's an
this
important thing to do, but
is
compared to
this
what
drag is this Dragnet?
but compared to what Tom has to do to get, to save the world, I don't know. It just kind of made me laugh, but still just as exciting. And for me, talking about if you look at franchises that have endured and even gotten better as they went along, there's not very many. There's not very many. James Bond, you could kind of throw that into the mix, but James Bond was sort of hit and miss and just just who they had as James Bond. I mean, and that can continue to perpetuate because they can just throw in a new James Bond and then you've got a whole new series
Yeah,
of films, right?
right. Yeah,
Um,
and I think they did that with Daniel Craig. I think
yeah,
they now it's up to them, like what
yes,
they do here. So and that's the thing is it could go through another period of
yeah, I know exactly. But Mission Impossible, as with Tom, 8 films, it just kept getting better and better. Um, and I don't know. I mean, what do you think? It definitely leaves it sort of open ended. Do you think they can continue with the franchise with somebody new and make it just as good, or will it? I don't. Will it
no,
fail? I don't know. What do you think?
no, 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 no,
No,
no,
you don't
no,
think it will.
no. This has become, and this I think is especially now is very rare in Hollywood. But I think this has become synonymous with Tom Cruise, and I think it's become cementedly synonymous with Tom Cruise, where I don't think you can do it. I mean, for goodness sakes, the guy parachuted into the Olympics in Paris. Um, and then hopped on a motorcycle and high-fived all the Olympians going through the stadium. I mean, I don't think, and then that we just thought Mission
Sorry.
Impossible. I mean, he was like Ethan Hunt, jumping into the Olympics, but it
Yeah.
was Tom Cruise, and I don't think you can separate that anymore. And I think that
Oh, they'll
they'd be a
try though, Joel. I think they'll try.
yeah, they can try, and
But I
if
think
he's
they should
exec,
wait. They should
yeah, they
wait.
should wait at least 10, 15 years, and
Maybe,
Tom
yeah.
Tom should be executive producer.
If he's still alive, yes.
Yes. Yeah. If he hasn't killed himself yet, trying to, fly a
Yeah, yeah.
helicopter
So
over
what
a
do you
mountain.
think what's next for him then? I know he said, "Oh, I'll keep working till I'm 100." What do you
Well,
think he'll in
Top Gun 3 is coming.
okay.
Um, in terms of original, what he has coming next, I don't know. I could see him as, I don't know, in that kind of similar vein where, like I'd love to see him like as a solo detective in a Seven, like a movie like a Seven.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's really dark and just, he's, Mr. Happy and just
Yeah.
something where he can act again because we know he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And
I
you know,
just
I
recently saw a clip from Magnolia, his
yeah,
Oscar
I did too, where
nominated.
he's
Yeah.
crying when his dad
Yes.
dies.
Yes.
Oh, that is just insane. That just
I
rips your
know.
guts
I
out.
know.
And I read in that same clip that Philip Seymour Hoffman was not supposed to cry in that scene, but he couldn't help it.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just saw Tom and he lost it. He just lost it.
And
And
by the
so
way, for me, Philip Seymour Hoffman still is my favorite villain from the franchise, Mission Impossible.
I was gonna say that earlier. Yeah, no question.
No question.
Absolutely not even close. Um, but yeah, and I don't see how this can go forward without him
Hmm.
attached in some capacity, but they might try. And the thing is, like, it's kind of silly, but this franchise got me from that first movie. And there was a scene when Tom's sitting in the restaurant and he's
Yes.
talking to his contact, and
Kittredge.
yes, and the Kittredge says, "Don't get so angry." And Tom looks back and says, "You haven't seen me angry." I was like, "Oh wow,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
here we go." And 8 movies later, I am loving him being angry in the name of
Yeah.
justice.
Also in the name of his family. I
Mhm.
mean, that's the thing about this that's been so, so key is that his a lot of his modus, is his motivation, I should say, is to save his team. It's always
Yeah,
about his
yeah,
team, and then when he
yeah,
loses people from his team, it chips away at him even more.
yeah,
'Cause this
yeah.
this last Ethan is someone who's seen a lot and has,
Over
he's
20
been,
years.
yeah, he's been beat 30 years. Yes, 30.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
He's been you know, he's
Put
been
through the
beat down
ringer.
by the whole thing, but at the same time, he's also he
Empowered
can't, yeah, he
by
can't let it
by
ever.
the loss.
Right, right. So
Yeah,
anyway,
and
it's a
and
great
and that's
character.
why another thing that's kind of Tom Cruisey that's gone real viral. I've noticed is people have taken it upon itself themselves to look into the camera and just have Tom say while they mouth it, "I need you to trust me one last
One
time,
time,
last
long time.
one last time."
And
And
I
you know,
mean, when he explains too, it's so funny. I mean, it got a little funny, not funny, but from Dead Reckoning and in this one too, it's like, you mean this guy did all of this and, da, 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 and this is what he was, the looks of like, you've got to be kidding me. This is not possible, right? I just
right?
think it's funny that the looks of other people are like, you can't know, huh? That's not going to work. And I think I did tell
That's
you the Matt Damon story where he went out to dinner with Matt one time, or he
yeah,
went out to dinner with Tom. You heard this story?
yeah,
He goes,
yeah.
yeah. So I set up this. It was, I think, the climbing on the side of or scaling the
Khalifa.
side of that. Yeah, Khalifa. Um, so yeah, so I had this whole thing planned out, and I got it. I had it all mapped out, and I went to the safety guy, and I go, "Yeah, this is what we want to do." And the safety guy goes, "No, I don't think we can do that. I don't think that's going to work." And then the pause. He goes, "So I got a new safety guy," and it's like, "Yep, you can't tell Tom Cruise no. That's for
Yeah,
sure." Wants to do something.
yeah,
Anyway, big 5 stars for me
yeah,
for Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. And
yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I'll probably wait till it's streaming. And I might not do the whole series again. I'm sure that'll probably like once every few years I might do that, but I certainly might watch Dead Reckoning and then Final Reckoning. I might do those two back to back. Anyway, love, 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 loved it. So quickly, we're
Yeah,
going to talk about.
I
Oh, go
give
ahead.
I give it 5 stars too.
Yes.
And real funny, haha, last thing. I saw a great interview with Simon Pegg and Hayley Atwell together, and Simon had to bring it up before the interview even started that perhaps Grace has rub off a little much on Hayley than one would like. And the interviewer said, "Why? What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, I took some things from set," and she went on to list about 25 things that she had taken from the set. And Simon's like, I would like a mask, I would like a hat. I mean, I didn't take anything. And she's like, I took everything.
Good for her.
And
She was a great addition.
she's like, maybe I'm a little too much like my character. So
She was a
yeah, so,
great addition to it. I thought
yeah,
I still missed Rebecca a little bit, Rebecca
yeah,
Ferguson. She was perhaps my most favorite character. So if Phil Seymour Herman was my favorite villain,
villain. Yeah,
Rebecca was my favorite side side person,
yeah.
female side
Well,
person.
yeah,
Anyway, yeah, she was great. Anyway, so we're going to talk real quick about two series that just ended their runs. Starting off with Andor, which actually was only a 2 season show because it goes straight into Rogue One, which is the film that was made before the series, and so it kind of had to end after 2 seasons, I think. But
hmm,
probably for me, one of the most, the best written Star Wars of all time. I mean, I would put it up there.
hmm,
I mean, I always thought, Empire Strikes Back was my second favorite as far as a written script with Lawrence Kasdan writing it, but this took it to a whole nother level. Star Wars, Tony
yeah,
Gilroy, who created it and did a lot of the writing, at least in the first season, and then some of it in the second season. It's a very dark, gritty. In fact, it's funny. My daughter loved it too, and she said She watched Andor, and then she watched Rogue One, and thought,
Yep.
I mean, Rogue One is a it's sort of a tragedy in play.
Hmm.
It's not going to end well for these people. We know this. And then she said she watched A New Hope. It was like,
Hmm.
here's R2D2. I don't care. I have these plans that all these people died again. Da, 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 da.
Hmm.
So I mean, they had who knew that this would last the way it has last, but it just is kind of funny how the first three Star Wars movies were very lighthearted in many
Hmm.
respects compared to this. So anyway,
Yeah.
I thought it was a great series. Following Cassian Andor, played brilliantly by Diego Luna, and all the political machinations and whatnot of trying to stop the Empire from becoming the Empire. You have the Senate, and you have all these people, working on the behind the scenes trying to take them down. But then you got the bad guys, and they're building the Death Star. That's happening, man. And certainly in the second season of this, they never say it, but until the very end. But we know what's happening,
Hmm.
and there's sort of a massacre on this one planet.
Oh, oh
There's
God,
just a
that
lot
scene,
of there's just
that
a lot of
scene.
stuff. I know, it's just crazy. It's
Oh, and
crazy.
then it's crazy every time they're like, we're building a weapon. Like, I
Yeah.
know what you're building. Don't
Yeah.
don't joke around.
Well,
I know
no,
what you're building.
they kind of didn't call it that at first. They called it some
Oh,
environmental
right,
something or
right,
another that
yeah,
they were doing,
right,
right? We
yeah,
knew what they were
whatever.
doing.
But I've always loved Stellan Skarsgård. I don't know,
Yes.
everything he does. I mean, he's awful to look at in Dune, but he's fantastic. But
Yes.
like he in this movie, you feel like he's playing both sides, but you know very well where his allegiance lies. And I thought his journey in this season was extraordinarily
Yeah.
well written. I just thought that
And
was
because
so
he
brilliant.
turns out to be kind of not a good guy in a way,
Right,
stuff that
right,
he
and
did in the
you never
name of,
you never
rebellion.
would you never would have guessed that. And
Yeah.
the way he played it, and Denise Go who played Dedra, who I
Oh,
thought I mean, everything she said in her face, like,
I
oh my
know.
gosh, like
So
just incredible.
severe. Poor thing. She's actually
Uh,
very pretty.
yeah, and if she doesn't get an Emmy nomination, that is a crime.
Yeah.
I think she was worthy of that, and I just think it's the best Star Wars TV show I've seen, and I think it may be, I don't know, at least in my top 20 of TV of all time. I mean, those two
Yes.
seasons I think are perfection. They just
Yeah.
are
And I don't see how they
perfection.
can come up with any other great series. I mean, The Mandalorian was good, definitely. I will give props to The Mandalorian, but all the other ones have just been so disappointing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
and
you got Andor, and you're like, wait, what? Oh,
yeah,
okay. This is like real television right now.
yeah. It,
Yeah.
yeah, every week felt like a movie, and it was just incredible. And Tony Gilroy was just, they'd be
He's
smart to give him something else to do in the Star Wars world.
yeah.
I
I don't
really
know.
think so.
He's one of my faves too. Other standouts I thought were really good in this too was uh Adria Ajorna, who played Bix. I thought she was great.
Yes.
Her love interest to Cassian. And then
And
Genevieve O'Reilly as
Riley, Mon
Mon
Mothma,
Mothma. Yeah,
yeah,
she was
who I
she was
love
fantastic.
seeing in A New Hope. And
Yes,
yeah, it's just that's the thing. You finish this and you're like, I kind of need to watch Rogue One right now.
it's true. But then watch Rogue One and then watch New Hope, and you're like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Oh my
Okay.
gosh!
Yep.
I mean, that first Star Wars movie, though. I mean, we talk about this probably every time we talk about Star Wars, but I mean, it was just so. I mean, for me as a 13-year-old watching this movie, I was just like, wait, what? You can't even comprehend it. It was so great and was so awesome to watch. And watching it now, it still holds a lot of that, but it's
Yeah.
definitely dated.
Yeah. I remember going back 7 times in 7 days. I just and my parents were like, "Is this what you want to do with your paper bunny?" I'm like, "Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. I want to see this
This is
many,
what,
many times.
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Andor, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And
And
I've actually,
it's a
believe it
good
or not,
binge to watch.
yeah, I actually have watched the season twice. I like literally went back to the beginning and watched it again.
Yeah, it's a good one, guys. And you have to kind of pay attention. There's a lot of stuff going on. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
that's what made it so interesting. It was actually a political drama in many respects,
hmm
in my
hmm
opinion. So,
and in some ways a little timely.
yeah, very.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. All right, and then finally, we're going to talk about The Last of Us, which unfortunately was only 6 episodes this second season. I hate that. Come
Yeah.
on, give us at least 8. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that first season was great, and that came out, gosh, a while ago. I think this second
3
season's
years
taken a
ago.
long time. Yeah, long time to get to us, but a lot of stuff going on, and I guess it's really not spoiling it because it's
Mm-mm.
all over it's all over. And if you were managed to miss the headlines and stuff, just be forewarned. We're going to spoil it just a little bit here for you, but Pedro
Oh,
Pascal's character.
got a great name, but it's sadly he
Sadly,
won't be seen. He won't be seeing the end of this series.
yes, Joel Miller, who is one of the, he and Ellie are the two main characters in the video game. He meets his demise pretty early on in the series, in the season, so he's gone. It's kind of like it felt very Game of Thrones-ish. It's like, what? Wait, what? So, but people who play the game know
hmm
that that's what happens. Of course, through this past season, he did appear in another really great episode as well.
Yeah.
So he came back a little bit, but his presence is felt throughout the whole season. But Bella Ramsey, man, she is
Firecracker.
something else. And this I know her casting was not well received, I don't think, by the gaming
Mm.
community. They didn't think she looked the part. Uh, but certainly she's made Ellie her own. And, it's a kind of a sad, sad character, but also very defiant and, just she's just a great character. And in
I
this season, she goes through the ringer again.
again, I mean, I'm not gonna give away too much or say too much, but like the scene in the hospital with the
Yeah.
spores when she's
Yeah.
talking to that other woman and
Talking is a very loosely based.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I can't believe that came out at Bella Ramsey. Like she seems such a nice, lovely young woman, and and there's that scene.
Well, she's
But
mad. She's
well,
just,
of course. I mean, she
she's
had to
just,
watch Joel die. Like that
I know
was
it was just
like it
there's
would be one
anger in
thing.
her more.
There's
Yeah.
one thing to see that death scene, and it's another thing to see that death scene and know that Ellie saw the whole thing. And speaking of that, we
Yeah.
followed Caitlin Deaver for years, from
I love her.
Booksmart to all the stuff. She's just this sweet, wonderful actress. I've interviewed her several times, but her on the show,
Yeah,
especially that last shot of the
I
season.
know. I know. Well, clearly the next season is going to concentrate on her, I think, looks like.
hmm Yeah, that's what
Her
they
character
said.
Abby, which, Livy, my daughter, she knows the game pretty well. And she's like, yeah, Abby's not a good person because she's the real villain. So, I kind of was half expecting. I mean, this one definitely ends on a major, major cliffhanger, uh, which I
It's
hate.
just, I was like,
Why do this to
what?
me? Why do this
What?
to me?
No.
Yeah, it
I'm like,
was it was not
don't
good.
make me wait. Do not make me wait another 3 years.
No, please. I hope they don't. I hope they
But
don't. And I hope they give us more than just sex. I felt
yeah,
that way about the diplomat on
yes,
Netflix, right?
yes, Carrie Russell, man,
Come
wow,
on. Well,
that's another
I
great one.
actually heard about that was that the creator of Diplomat, she just didn't have it in her. She said, I just couldn't write more than that. Like, come on. What's wrong with you? You created the show. Get your act together, man.
You had
But
one job,
you
you
have
know.
one job. Just keep making this show. Stupid person. Anyway, yes. So I am looking definitely forward to season 3, hoping it won't take as long to get there, but certainly there's some great stuff that came
Oh
out of
yeah,
it. Also,
yeah,
Isabella Merced as Dina, who
mm,
is Bella's sort of uh,
Standing.
friend, so to speak, who
And
goes on
young
this journey with
Mazzino,
her.
who plays
Yes,
Jesse. I get a
yes.
feeling he's going to be even more and more and more important
Well,
as we go along.
you saw the last episode, didn't you, though?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well,
Oh, hello. Sorry. Um, yeah,
well, anyway,
brain fart.
anyway, maybe we'll see some more flashbacks. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I think that guy, but
he
he's a
was
good
great.
actor, and I like
Yeah,
this. He's gonna, yeah, it's good stuff. But yes, Halen Deaver is fantastic, and I'm anxious to see what ends up happening with that storyline.
yeah,
And the Bella and Pedro obviously have a very close relationship. You can tell as Ellie and Joel, and probably in real life too. But
yeah.
Pedro is just he's a great actor, and I'm actually, you know
Mm.
what? I'm finally watching Narcos.
Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite shows.
No, it's good.
All you got to watch all
Good.
four seasons, especially when it switches to Mexico.
Okay. Well, I'm on season 2 right now, and it's
Okay,
quite
yeah,
it's quite
that's one
quite
of the
good.
best things. One of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that really gave Pedro his major start, I
Yeah,
think. That and Game of Thrones, his little brief
talk
moment in Game of Thrones.
talk about a conflicted character
Oh, Pedro
uh,
in
in
Narcos?
Narcos. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah,
I think ultimately he's a good guy, but
right. Yeah,
certainly he has to play harder
kind of
ball than
reminds me a little bit of Benicio del Toro in Traffic.
yes.
Yeah, but
But he
wow,
played yes, right in
yeah,
Traffic, and then in Sicario he was
in
Sicario.
Sakura,
So
right?
so you learn all about.
Yeah.
I mean,
See,
it's mostly in Spanish too. I'm actually
mhm,
surprised by
mhm.
that.
And I didn't
So
mind. I love it. It's beautiful language.
it's not there's not a whole lot of multitasking. Sometimes I watch something and I can hear it. I don't know, there's not a lot of
Mm.
multitasking watching Narcos. I got to pay
No,
attention
no,
to
no, 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 no.
it. Anyway, Last of Us
Pleasure.
once again was a really great second season. So obviously, if you haven't watched that one, definitely check that one out on HBO Max. But Joel, thank you again for
Hmm.
joining me on our
It
great conversations.
was a
I'm not sure
blast.
who might be back next week or not. I'm not entirely sure. I don't even know what's the next biggie coming up though. Trying to the Jurassic World. Is that the next big one coming?
I think
Let's
it
see
will
here.
be. Um, let's see here. The Phoenician. No.
Oh, I heard that's supposed to be good. So Wes Anderson film, The
Yeah,
Phoenician Scheme.
the Phoenician Scream. That's supposed to be extremely good. One of his best. Oh, Ballerina from John Wick.
Ballerina, yes.
The Life of Chuck, who's supposed to be an Oscar contender with Tom Hiddleston, based on the
Okay,
Stephen King book.
all right.
Another, wow,
But
just a
then
few
June,
things to,
yeah, and then June 13th is how the live action How to Train Your Dragon. That's probably the next real biggie.
yeah, yeah,
Everybody's
and I've
talking
heard
about that.
amazing things about
I
that.
know, me too. I'm still a little, hmm,
I mean, I don't
like,
need, we don't, I feel like we
why?
don't need it this soon, but
Why?
a great movie is a great movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
All right,
but
well, I'll give it a
we'll
shot.
see.
It's like Lilo and Stitch. We didn't even really
Yes,
talk about the
that
whole
shocked
box
me.
office. Yeah, box office last weekend was
145 million. I mean,
unbelievable.
oof.
Yeah,
I mean,
between that and Mission Impossible, both kind of captured different markets, but pretty much the entire population from you got the kid movie and then you got the action, packed sort of
so,
adult movie. So yeah, movies are
summer is
back.
here.
Movies
Summer is
back.
here, ladies and gentlemen.
They never went away. Okay, anyway, so
Yeah.
we digress. Thank you, Joel, and
Yep.
everyone. Definitely let us know if you've seen any of these films and subscribe and like and comment on the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you again, everyone, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.
Bye.